Okay, anybody else? How about now? You can now hear. Okay, hold on. Let me get the Logitech Brio going. Anybody else? How about now? Here we go. Okay, so everybody can hear me. Okay. I'll have to cut the first 4 minutes off. My apologies. I asked to do a mic check. Nobody responded for obvious reasons. And I want to thank you guys for hanging in. Um, Appreciate it. How's everybody doing today? My name is Kelby. I'm executive director for a ministry business called HISAdvocates. We've been in the perfecting of living in the private for about 12 years. We've been open for about 15. I am super proud to have accomplished what we have accomplished as a body of people and branching into next level things like technology and things like Republic and helping people understand public and private. I'm going to take a few minutes to explain a very important element of what it means to be private and what it means to be in Republic. Um, a lot of people are trying to start societies, communities, all not understanding the law, all not understanding components of property, land rights, and the various elements that you have to kind of think all the way through before you venture into making claims and trying to ensure that you are in fact private. There are people that have started their own quote unquote compounds, trying to turn it into their own sovereign nations. There are people that have started their own islands and islands within a country and try freedom that way. There are people that own their own islands and have properly affected and converted it to their own country. And without getting into specifically what makes a country, it's very simply you got recognition from another nation that you are in fact a country. It's called a treaty. Um, and helping people to understand the basics of privacy and the basics of what we have here in this nation that has been completely overlooked. Um, I put this book out to show people and showcase. This is not a profit center for us, just FYI. This is something that is a the book that explains why we have something super special here in this nation. What does it mean to be an American? Is without a doubt the catalyst of helping people to understand what our founders were and what we still can be. And once you get private versus public, once you understand debtor versus creditor, and once you understand that you are a party to anything you wish you could be, and that includes people of other countries. Um, but I started initially this venture of living privately through joining a organization called at the time RUSA, Republic for the United States of America. And without getting into depth, that organization, in my opinion, lawfully re-inhabited our vacated republic in this nation, lawfully. I've been a part of it since the very beginning. I've seen every element of that organization raise itself up and hold as an interim government waiting for the people to stand in, fill up offices, and grow. I have seen the de facto corporation, just like they are doing with different ministries and different people that stand up. They're killing them. They're sending in agents. They're doing all kinds of things. I've watched them do that with this organization called the Republic for the last 15 years. It is, I thought, oh my gosh, the Republic's back. They got to be rejoicing. They don't need to be in what we would think of as power anymore. They can let the people be back in power. And boy, was I wrong with my thought, in my opinion. And I thought it would just be automatic. I thought the military would step up. I thought a lot of things of grandeur for us as a people. And lo and behold, they keep taking these steps called Agenda 2021 at first. Now it's called Agenda 2030. And some of these steps are inclusive of artificial intelligence, of robots, of of systems and technology that are far overreaching than anything you could ever imagine. And I've never in my life thought it would be more important than right now for us as a people to stop making excuses, to stop looking and waiting for the other guy, to stop waiting on the blonde guy, to stop waiting on the white hats. I have never been so sure in my life that if you all don't stand up right now, that you're going to be holding on to something which is freedom, which is something I absolutely say is better than not having freedom, but you're going to be left out of a structural system, which is what's happening in China, it's happening in Vietnam, it's happening in the United Kingdom, and coming to a neighborhood in America near you. If you at all do not take this message as serious in nature, and you want to believe the narrative that this can't be like Kelby says, I assure you, um, they are coming to wipe clean any trace. And I think the office of president in this nation is a party to something bigger, knowingly or unknowingly, bringing forth a control system to this nation of people. And I think there's a lot of countries that want to see us fall and collapse on our faces. Why? I don't know yet. I mean, I can tell you what they say, but it's worthless. But I don't for sure understand that yet. I think that yeah, there's some elements of watching people die that, make people happy, but and there's some elements of being rewarded. There's some elements of spiritual gain, of the element of innocent blood being shed by your doing that would allow for you to spiritually gain in the satanic realm. There's all kinds of elements, guys, and that you probably don't think about, don't ever care to think about, and I don't blame you one bit. But I have never in my life been more sure that what's happening right now, we have far more going on our plate than you could ever imagine. And the one question that people always have, and I'm going to address it next Sunday in depth. I'm going to be public speaking at the Republic event in Colorado. I want you guys to all be there. Do me a favor, hook a ride to Breckenridge, Colorado. The information is on HISAdvocates.org. Under the event section, laid out, it's $100. Just get over there. People always say, why would I want freedom if all they're going to do is, if a cop pulls me over and I don't have it, or if this happens and, they stop this. Look, just because code enforcement, law enforcement, these people, judges, have judges' handbooks that talk about sovereign citizens and their tactics. Number one, you're not a sovereign citizen. If you are a state citizen, you're not a sovereign citizen. Number two, the tactics are by design, obviously, and for one reason, they don't want you to think that you have any power whatsoever. As a matter of fact, the people have essentially never lost their power. But there's 300 plus million people that have given up their power. The power lies within the birthright. The power lies within you as a God-given man or woman with unalienable rights. The power is there. You have an obligation. You have been entrusted with that power to have dominion, sovereign authority over all the earth. Scripturally, Genesis 6. You, as a man or woman, are obligated to pick up your crown, your sovereign right under God, joint heirs under God, to utilize the Holy Spirit to stand up like never before and defeat your enemies. Anybody that comes against the will of God will be destroyed. Anybody that stands against your sovereignty as a king, as an heir, as a son of God, will be destroyed. Not to say you may not go through some stuff, but the reality is, come out of her, my people. People want you to believe that her is the Catholic religion. People want you to believe that her is all kinds of things. I will assure you, I will do a full, I've already done it on Babylon and what the whore Babylon structure is and what the beast system is. And I will assure you that it is your giving up of your God-given unalienable rights, your what you've been given as an heir, H, you know, a direct descendant of God. You giving that up for something less is by far the worst thing that you can do and punishable with the plagues by God. Revelations 18:6. So when you start to realize the level to which how important it is to stand and why you want to be a king and why you want to have your castle. See, back in the day, just saying, even 100 years ago, I just got back from France and I was amazed at their food, at how many people garden. Like every home is going into their backyard daily and picking of their food and eating of their harvest. Probably one of the last countries that is going to go through a starvation. They all have food. I'm watching this structural system come after countries, come after their food. What is Bill Gates doing in our nation? Coming after our food. What are they going to do to go after your property, your land rights? They are coming. They have made executive orders allowing for them to do these color of law pretense taking of property. It's no different than somebody coming to your door and saying, "Hey, I'm sorry, you're out. We need this for this reason." What are you going to do? Are you going to get out? Do they have a right? No. Does the executive order of a de facto corporate president, when you're not even in their jurisdiction personally and you've taken the property that was incorrectly recorded in the United States, registered in the United States, pulling it out with a new deed where all the elements of the deed are outside of the jurisdiction of the United States, don't you think that stuff matters? Don't you think it matters that you cancel your personal agreements that agree to being the surety and the collateral for the debt of a defunct corporation known as the United States? Don't you think that's important? If you're a king, are you going to stand there in the middle of your kingdom and not build walls? If you have an opportunity, are you not going to build a moat around your kingdom? If you have the opportunity, are you not going to put some alligators in the moat? If you have the opportunity, are you not going to work with the people in your community to gain access to food? See, the only way they're going to have people is if we are divided. Right now, or immediately after this presentation, get online, get your flights, and be at the Republic event in Breckenridge, Colorado, Saturday and Sunday. You need to know who to communicate with. You need to know what Republic actually is. And even the Republic is learning what Republic actually is. Republic is here. You can have Republic right now. But Republic is also that body of people willing to put their hands into the labor grind of freedom, willing to show up to events, to have the opportunity to serve in the capacity of leadership in Republic, willing to work with the leadership to talk about what actual land rights really are, what actual freedom really is. And I'm not putting people in the Republic down, but even we got it wrong for years. Freedom starts with you and your contracts. Once you have become free, then you can take into consideration serving in a non-biased capacity in Republic because you're not double-minded. You're not obliged to the corporation as surety and trying to pretend to be free in Republic. It takes the steps of men and women to walk out of that structural system to say, I want no party of that. I don't want to be a party of the 500,000 children a year that disappear in this nation due to that company called the United States Corporation masquerading and pretending like they don't know what the hell is going on with these kids. Christians, we have a nation full of churches that, and just preach it. Okay. We have a nation full of churches that are not protecting their children. They're not protecting their spouses. They're not protecting their husbands. And they don't have an inkling of an idea of what it means to be in service of God. Why? Because it feels good to come to church and not hear any of that. Just want to go home. I just want to eat my chips. I just want to watch my Sunday afternoon football. I just want to drink my beer. They entertain, they entertain for the purposes to take your mind off the reality that something's happening. This time next year, there will be no cash. You want to bet? Any takers? $1,000. Any takers want to do a public bet? What are you going to do? Been telling people for years to buy certain crypto. This crypto that I've been telling people about to buy has 15x'd. In the last 48 hours, it's so important that they hammered all of crypto and did a joint operation to steal 20 billion from people just like you and me, retail investors, not wholesale banks. It was an operation that Binance covered up the ability for you to log in saying, ooh, due to traffic, you're not able to sell. Oh, and by the way, when XRP on Binance hit $1.20 on Binance only, people were out there trying to log in going, come on, buy, buy, buy. Nobody was able to buy except the whales. which is good and it's bad. It's called market manipulation. It's good and it's bad. Market manipulation is never good for the retail, but it's good from the sense that watching it from the outside, you can see that the market was manipulated by the companies that are holding the dollars, and it was to the favor of the banks. You can see the sells and you can see the buys and you can see who they were from a wallet size standpoint. And guys, let me tell you something. It flushed out everybody in their positions. It freed up a lot of XRP and a lot of other coins for that matter. And it allowed for the banks who were running out of XRP to pick up their XRP. Remember, we got 6 applications in right now for ETFs for XRP. Guys, have you read the Genius Act yet? We should say, because a lot of people are excited about the Genius Act. I'm not so excited about the Genius Act. Have you read it? Read it. What you're going to realize is that they have now controls in place to let go of cash and to bring about central bank digital currencies where every country will have their own, every bank or institution will have their own. It's kind of like stock. It's kind of like being, how much stock do you have in that company? How many coins do you have in that company? How much is it worth? Same thing, same principle. People that had their positions where they weren't playing the stock market, the crypto market, if you will, hoping that their positions, their short positions wouldn't get nailed or blown out, which they did. People that bought, held, and put it on their hard wallet lived through the last few days. It went down so much on Binance, like 70%. I said it would do something like that. Why? Because they are squeezing out and running out of XRP. That was their only color of law legal way that they can do the last bit of squeezing out of all those people playing those short positions, hoping for a massive gain down the road on very little money put up. Now, 20 billion was transferred from the retail market to the wholesale market because they were able to buy up all those positions. Many, many people lost hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. But if your money was on a hard wallet and you weren't playing those games, you're okay. You're okay. It came back up to, and I don't know if you guys noticed, gold is at $4,129. There's only a few things I've been telling you guys to buy, and this isn't, I keep telling you, I'm just saying these are obvious things. Gold, silver, guns, ammo, food, crypto. ISOs, ISO 20022 compliant crypto, not Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin is what you guys think. $4,134. Never have we ever seen gold that high before. And normally, so you're asking me, Kelby, what is the biggest potential chance for gain? Silver. Silver, even at 51 bucks right now, $50.97. Silver by far is the biggest opportunity for gain. If you take historical averages and go $4,140 divided by 16, that's the historical average of what silver would be in comparison to gold, 258 bucks. So it would take silver to catch up because the market manipulation is keeping it down for industrial uses and many more things. But silver is purposely being kept down. There's coming a time where they have to let it go. And that pop, that gain right now, just to get back to the 120-year historical average of being 1/16th the value of gold, it would have to be at 258 bucks. And that's presuming gold is not being manipulated and held down right now as well. But they can't restrain gold from going up in value. Why? Because people are buying it. Now, gold, silver, you keep on you. You don't buy it and let anybody hold it. You may have a friend that has a safe and you trust them, or your family member that has a safe and you trust them. That's okay, but you get it out of the bank's hands. You do not put it into a security deposit. You know what a security deposit is? It just belongs to the bank. Bank collapses, you own stock in the bank at best. And they're going to take all your assets in both the bank account and the security deposit. Gold, silver, crypto, guns, ammo, food. You know, over and above all of that is as important what you can do with these and what you can do with this. What value do you bring to community if you do not have gold, silver, guns, ammo? I really want you guys to start thinking hard on this, because 100 years ago, this was our life. 120, 130 years ago, the pursuit of happiness was a community that you can defend yourself with, where you can have your saloon, your hotel, your bakery, your different places where you can go in and your wages, your labor, and what you did and what you grew would be trade or sold amongst the community, and you would utilize each other to any means, any capacity, any way. And that's living. And right now, there are people in China and Vietnam. Listen to me carefully. 90 million accounts verified by a Vietnamese friend of my family's, that his family is locked out of their accounts in Vietnam unless they get digital ID. It's happening. Turning it on for this nation. Turning it on for this nation. The United States would be the last. 100%. It is now illegal in the province of Nova Scotia to walk in the wilderness. Illegal to walk in the wilderness. Well, to be frank with you, I've seen enough movies and I'm not too thrilled about walking in the wilderness, especially at night. But that's a freedom that you don't have in Canada now. So us as VIP members on HISAdvocates, just saying, you guys, this is why it's so imperative that we stick together and we talk and we communicate. Our Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. is going to be a lot of questions I'm going to have, and I'm going to really, really need you guys and your input and what steps need to happen for all of us to be secured all across this nation, where we utilize each other's talents, we utilize each other's ways, and we have to understand some of you have more than others, and some of you have nothing. I get it. I get it. But some of you have talents that are very valuable. Some of you can do things that no other person can do. That is bringing value to the table. In China, China. I can't do Trump. But in China, they're showing pictures of people sleeping on the streets because they don't want to partake in a social credit score system. In our nation, they know how stubborn we are. That's why they built the camps. And the camps are going to be advertised as hotels with food. Don't you dare go into a camp, into a FEMA camp. Do not go into any government operation of a camp unless there's no walls and they're just serving food and the food's done by some local church. Just saying. The people that have, we're going to have to talk about what we need to do to feed and shelter the mass. We're going to have to talk to each other about what to do on the land and how to procure the land and hold the land and protect the land. We're going to talk about what to do with the animals, the livestock, the food, buy more food, raise more food. There is coming a time, but even with all that in play, there are bigger things to fear. It doesn't mean that you, as a man with God-given unalienable rights, a king, if you will, sovereign, lawful authority with your own kingdom, that doesn't mean you, as a king, do nothing to protect yourself. Because you have been told this, even by myself. We are to trust in our Father. But what is wrong with the church's depiction of that is we've got you. Everything is okay. The white hats are coming. Trump is going to secure this. The generals are in on this. Everything is okay. And you are being led to the slaughterhouses. I'm going to say something respectfully. I look at the Jewish nation as any other nation. I do not treat them with any mean or hurtful or angry thought. They do treat Americans like crap. They treat Christians worse. If you are a Christian in Israel, you are spat on, hit, slapped, punched, kicked, pushed over. If you're a woman in Israel and you're a Christian, good luck. I'm saying this to you because the Zionists, the non-Jews who came into that nation masquerading as Jews, which you can say I'm a Jew, doesn't mean you have that as a heritage or descendant or you're one of the original, but anybody can go and become a Jew, if you will. That Zionist system hates America. They want to see, they laugh at us. They want to see the destruction of America. They don't want to see our success. And it has been said recently that President Trump, whether true or not, I'm looking into this claim, that President Trump is their Messiah. Don't know if that's real. I'm looking into the claim. I have seen Trump with a yarmulke at the Wailing Wall. I have seen Jared Kushner at the Wailing Wall with a yarmulke. I have seen these people posing as Jews, saying I am a Jew, praying as a Jew. Trump and Jared Kushner. Yes, I have. And I think you need to think that there's maybe a greater deception at work here than you could ever imagine. Careful, careful. Trump is not my president. If y'all come to Breckenridge, Colorado next weekend, you're going to meet him. My, what I would call de jure lawful original president of the Republic. He's of no grandeur. He's a retired, I gotta say this right. Um, rocket, what do they call rocket engineer? I forget what his background is. Smart guy, godly man, um, converted Jew. Got to have a lot of respect. and he's holding down the fort for you guys that want to be state citizens to come into republic. We need people. And trust me, next weekend you're going to see me call out agents in front of the room because they are there. You're going to see me tell them to their face what I think. You're going to see a good and evil fight, and you're going to see good and Yeshua the HaMashiach, Jesus, prevail. There is a battle against the Republic, and there is a battle against your personal freedom right here, like you've never had before in your life. My fears that I do have, and I'm working through it, are what's going to come about with AI in the next 10 years, next few years. Do you think COVID-19, do you think certificate of vaccination identification AI, which is what all of that means, was anything more than a testing grounds for what they're bringing forward in the next agenda that they've already talked about? The next pandemic, the next series of shots, the next series of controls, and we all know what's in the virus shots. We all know what they're bringing forward to the table. We all know it's not nice. Hold on. And in knowing all this, if the American people do not collectively realize that this is subjectly a simple light and dark issue, if they do not realize that it is good and evil at the highest levels of warfare that have ever existed, AI is nothing more than the devil's way to attempt to be omnipotent. AI is nothing more than the devil's way to bring forth mass murder to the people under color of law, using men, using women, using robots as a Terminator type environment. I see a war, not one that I'm picking, not one that the people are picking, but when the people stand and we take back what was rightfully stolen from us and we make amends to the rest of the world for what we did to them, not we, but the corporation, with your consent, under the color of freedom and democracy, waged war against the rest of the world. Listen, we've got a lot of apologizing to do as a body. I had to explain it to somebody. I'm so sorry. It wasn't us. We don't believe in hurting or raiding countries. My apologies that your family was affected. I am so sorry. I've done it over and over now, and it's not enough because the entirety of the world has been affected by this one nation's corporate equivalent audacity to pretend to be a nation, utilizing the sweat equity of the people as the collateral and the surety to make bad business decisions through Congress. And guys, Governor Newsom in California just signed a bill authorizing anybody without background check to go into any school and pick up any kid without the parental consent or knowledge. What? You are not living in a world that is even recognizable from when you were a kid. Just 7 years ago, I could not have thought of that this all would be taking place today. that the attempts on the theft of my home, the attempts on the theft of our bank accounts, our right to do business, our lives, the attempts on our freedoms, I never thought I would have seen what I am seeing right now. So stop worrying about the bro over here and the bro over here. Stop worrying about making sure that you look good at church on Sunday and Sunday only. And start taking into account for your life what is going to happen if you do not bring forth this nation's republic and hold it. If we as a body of people are not strong nationwide and we don't find out who the infiltrators are fast and move on them effectively and quickly, maybe much like a Thomas Jefferson, that's as far as I'm going to go with that. But where we act effectively and quickly against treasonous people who are doing the most atrocious things I've ever heard of on the face of the earth. You watch children in California are going to start disappearing. You watch their voices of their parents will be shut down on online. You watch this is going to become a massive issue. And we're just getting started. It's really easy to cover up things by putting shows on Sunday television. It's really easy to cover up things by arresting Diddy and making every news station perform a trial. It's really easy to shut things down by showing the murder of a prominent Christian online and then make everything about it that you could possibly make of that questionable. We don't know what to believe in anymore. There's only one thing that we can believe in, and that goes to the staple of the Word of God. That's the only thing that we know is absolute and truth. That's it. I'm going to say this to you. I don't mean this to be a church right now, but I'm going to say this to you. 306 prophecies written about the birth, death, and resurrection of Jesus, known as Yahushua. Didn't mean much to me to hear that when I first heard about it. But to find two things, two very important little things, that the life equivalent, the birth, the death, and the resurrection, the whole life equivalent, picked up and fulfilled all 306 prophecies about Jesus. Not just that. The second thing is that we got the unveiling of the books, the Old and the New Testaments, written on scrolls, some hidden up to 275 years before the birth of Jesus, showing that the major and minor prophets that wrote those 306 prophecies and the writings on those scrolls were all dated prior to the birth of Jesus the Christ, meaning the Bible is the only truth that we have, and Jesus is the only man that ever succeeded death and came back to life and fulfilled the 306 prophecies, showing he is the inerrant Son of the Most High God. And by his shed blood and only his shed blood, we're going to make it through this. That is pretty solid. So if you've not got that message yet, or you're just now hearing it, understand those are the words of the battlefield that you need to remember. We have already won. Yes, going through the issues might suck for especially those people that aren't being obedient to the word, or those people that aren't coming out of her, or those people that really don't understand public versus private. And that's really what I'm going to spend a lot of time with you guys on next Sunday. By the way, I won't be doing any Monday Q&A. It's going to be on Tuesday of next week. I'll be coming home from Colorado. So not next Monday, next Tuesday for this Q&A. Um, Sunday morning, I'm going to be doing a little bit of this as it's Sunday. I know it's not Saturday. Calm down, you Sabbath lovers. I love the Sabbath too, but I don't think anybody knows what day it is. And if you knew what I meant, you would know what I meant. Here we are, guys. You can watch a video and you don't know what to think of as it's real. You can see human beings on videos. You can see all kinds of weird stuff happening. It's only going to get weirder. It's going to completely wipe out the logic and reason in your head. Don't believe the coming lies. Don't. What I just shared with you is your staple. Don't believe the coming lies. We created you. We did this several thousand years ago. You're not special. You're not the first time we've done this. We've made a lot of mistakes. We've done this and that. Don't believe those lies. God is sitting on the throne. His son is sitting to the right hand. We have already won the battle. I know what I know. And people that are in relationship and have studied the word to the degree that I have know the truth and know that that can never be taken from me, which is what brings the peace of peace. I was battling anxiety for about 2 weeks for the first time in my adult life, really. It's gone now. I want to share this with you and I'll get to Q&As right now. Silver's up $1, 51.50. Hilarious. Um, well, let's get to the Q&A. I got a lot of questions. Please explain what and how a smart contract is, how it works again, and only if it's used for crypto. Yeah, it's only used for crypto. Or can be used for smart contract signing using metals too. You can use it for the equivalent of metals, but not anything that's not digital. So if the metals have somehow been digitalized, which would mean the metals are in some custody or arrangement where they're in control of them, then maybe I don't think so. But from a standpoint of smart contracts, super important for us to get our minds wrapped around because I think like for me, smart contracts are the only thing that I haven't been able to understand about smart contracts yet is upon the exit of the agreement of the smart contract, can we get it put back onto a particular account or cold storage or hard wallet or whatever? But I'm going to read you something real quick. Um, Smart contracts are self-executing digital agreements that are stored and executed on a blockchain. Kind of like that. What they use is if slash then do this. If this happens slash then do this. As an easy way. It removes the need for an escrow or the need for lawyers, basically. So you are going to be able to create a smart contract, and people like the Ethereum network pioneered this kind of stuff, um, which removes the element of a trustee, if you will. Um, the agreement is in code. It's deployed to the blockchain. Conditions are met. Automatic execution. Result recorded on a blockchain. It can be done for decentralized finance, DeFi, meaning getting loans, escrow type transactions, payments, interest payments, all that kind of stuff. Non-fungible tokens and NFTs. Um, Automatic payments, well, on the NFT, smart contracts can be to create, to manage, verify ownership of digital assets like NFTs, programmed automatically to send a certain percentage of future resales to an original creator as royalty. You can portion here, portion here, portion here, kind of a thing with wallet addresses attached. Automatic payments can be programmed to automatically release crypto to a supplier once a shipment is verified as delivered, so you can buy things online. Um, like say you want to buy a bunch of gold. You want to use for sure a smart contract where when you've got the gold and they can prove delivery of the gold, then you're going to have to come in and release the escrow so that they get payment. So it's going to be a way for us to, and it's not that particular transaction is not going to be a cheap transaction. It's going to require human hands over and above. But remember something, everything you're doing on and through smart contracts is going to have a forever recognizable record behind it. Which I don't really care about when you're talking about utilizing a smart contract to get a dividend and rate of return on crypto. You know what I mean? DEX, decentralized exchanges. These are crypto exchanges that operate entirely through smart contracts rather than being controlled by a central company. This automates the trading process, handling the exchange of assets directly between your wallets. And it can do all kinds of things with voting. Um, you can do all kinds of things with efficiency, transparency, and security is the number one thing behind it. And so that you're not dealing in a direct transfer without something guaranteeing the transfer. You know, people always say, pay me. No, it's like, how do you trust that kind of a thing? But I think it's the future of contracts, and I'm not opposed to it or against it at all. I just know that there's gonna be a permanent record of all these things online, and I think the element of taxation is going to change somewhat from jurisdiction individually to jurisdiction through whatever exchange that you're using, or whatever country owns the exchange, if you will, or corporation owns the exchange. So we have to think through really clearly um, who we're going to use, why we're going to use, and so forth. But for sure, with crypto today, get it down. We're going to be releasing, I'm hoping in the next week, I'm going to have a lot of time to do some studying on the road a little bit. But um, I've been talking to the VIP members about what I think of as going to be the wallet of wallets. There's a lot to consider when you're getting a hard wallet. Um, you don't want to get a hard wallet with certain things, certain conditions on it. So super important that we make sure we got the ultimate of vaults, and that's really what I'm going for. Um, I'm gonna go check on a air conditioning number, and I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm gonna finish up. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry about that, guys. They misplaced the wall mount for my air conditioning. They put it next to a very cool room. So over here in my office, I'm cooking half the time. Where do you go to do a smart contract? There's 100 places to go to. If you want specific information on where I would go to, jump on a VIP on Tuesday morning. I'll be more than happy to share it. What cold storage wallet do you recommend? Again, that's one of the things we're working through. I was originally with Decent and I moved away from Trezor. Trezor's complicated, hard, from the standpoint of um, being able to use, being able to see balances, different things like that. But the Trezor's a 10 out of 10 on security. The Decent's an 8 out of 10. And the reason why is the Decent wallet, the keys and the keys and the code are known only to are the keys, meaning the words, are known to the company and you instead of only known to you. And the code to descent is closed and not open source, so we can't see if they've built in loopholes in the wallet. So it's an 8 out of 10 on walletscrutiny.com, but from usability and everything it is that Decent offers, I love, but I am going to get away from it no matter how user friendly it is and move to something much better. Somebody made a comment. $100 in nickels is worth 119 in weight. Well, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right. Again, if you're questioning on the Republic, go to HISadvocates.org, click on events, and go to the Republic event for next weekend. It's I believe the 18th and 19th. And make your plans to get over there. I'd love to see you guys. Next question. I received a call from the United States Post mailbox today. I changed my bank statements, mailing addresses for my real estate holding companies to the new UPS box. They wanted me to add my holdings company to the agreement. In the long run, these LLCs will be held by the foundation, correct? We'll be adding them to the UPS mailing box. A challenge to what we want to accomplish. No. So Bob, listen. What I did is I asked my mailbox, I said, let's not play the games. For me to get unlimited names to this box without you needing to know every name, if it just has this address number on it, to this foundation, just accept it. How much? And they gave me a price and I pay that. The bottom line is they don't need every single thing that you say they think they need. They're just trying to comply with the United States Post Office. The reality is the USPS never comes and checks the records. Very rare. Very, very rare. So just if you want, give them the foundations, give them the LLCs, give them whatever information they want. No, it doesn't affect your ability to do anything. And yes, ultimately you can have the LLCs controlled by the foundation or owned by the foundation. I know LLCs generally do not have stock. So by making the foundation the primary member of the LLC, it does a couple things. FYI, I know I'm going above and beyond, but you need to look up um, yeah, I'm just blanked on the name. When it's called a disregarded entity under IRS code. So when you make the foundation the primary member for the LLC, only member for the LLC, it makes the LLC become what's known as a disregarded entity. And I've talked to a couple of agents, and they are telling me that means the element of having to file a return on the LLC is moot. So do what you will, check your own, go to your own CPA, verify and validate. Next question. I'm getting ready to submit my last tax return. I have it coming to me in the mail from the accountant so I can file it myself. Can you guide me as to what additional information or letter or statements I'll include the filing? Yeah, just go to your ticket and say I'm going to be filing my, just post this to the ticket. We'll give you a letter. Basically, it's just a cover letter. This is my final return. This is what we've done. Post this as a permanent record to the account and da 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 da. Pretty simple. Additionally, I know I've asked this before and definitely coming from a fear of the unknown, but filed, I filed but did not pay the tax liability from 2023. And we'll do the same for 2024. I did cash out on a retirement account that I did not pay the penalty or the tax on as well in 2024. Wow, they let you have it. Good. They have no way of contacting me really because I do not get mail at my home. So I do have this slight fear of them trying to attach assets, and I am working to try to get my home in Naples and my cars titled to the foundations. I have small hiccups in Naples with this due to my homestead and trying to preserve that for the time being until I can find a way to remove the property tax from the roll. First, just get everything put into the name of the foundation. That's quick. You don't need to work on making sure you've got this process from a taxation standpoint dialed in so that you're removing it from the tax rolls of the county. Just get it put into the foundation. But secondly, Jamie, listen, when The IRS is notorious for taking about 4 to 5 years before ever a lien would take effect. Just know that. And so timing is to your benefit. So the question here is, for the preservation of assets in mind and just resolving the tax liability, should I try and pay the tax liability? Should just clear it off the books and walk away clean? Jamie, I don't want to throw up on your dress or anything, but it's not something I would do. When you sign those 1040s, it's like signing a check. They set the debt off, they get paid, period. There are companies that will negotiate. You can do that if you wish, those tax liabilities, but they will generally require that you do returns. They will require that you are in good standing. All these things before you're going to get a negotiated settlement. So um, you're walking away clean by finishing up the elements of them being able to set off the debts. And by the way that you sign those final returns. I know that people don't understand that, but I've never seen anybody go to jail for filing a legal return and then not paying it. I've seen them go to jail for filing an illegal return or fraudulent return. Secondly, I've only seen people that filed a legal return go through the process, get a lien, and then they lien up on the house that they haven't protected. I've never seen anybody go across the board to a property that's been asset protected to lien on it. I've never seen that. So your assets are protected. Sorry about that. I'm not making a pun there. Your assets are protected. Just get them in, and then worry about the element of trying to remove it from the county recorder's tax rolls or payment rolls later. Okay, next question. From Candace, thank you for the links. I'm finding a lot of good info reading through them and through other members' posts. A couple of questions I've not been able to find answers to related to where I look for the purchase of land are. Does moving out of the state that I established my foundation and cause any issues? No. I currently live on New Hampshire, but I'm looking to purchase land on Maine. My nationality is a Massachusetts. No, no problem at all. If anything, you just get a different mailing address within the foundation. That's all it is. Do state citizens pay state income taxes? No, you're not a part of the corporate state. It's a corporate state. It is not a de jure state. Being in New Hampshire, and not having state income taxes, I didn't have to consider this before. Become relevant when moving to another state? No, you're fine. Okay, so that's all for the pre-done questions. Let me go to the Q&A questions. Um, Somebody said people should quit sharing the Nova Scotia BS when we share these overlords' New World Order objectives. You do their bidding for them, kind of. If you weren't ignorant for their foolishness, you won't live in fear. Yeah, but if you're not prepared for what they are doing there to maybe come here, then you're ignorant. I don't mean that to be mean. You have to prepare. Otherwise, you're gonna have a huge amount of people, unfortunately, with what do we do? So you got to talk about it. Question from Raymond. When I had you make the foundation, I put my name on both positions because my wife is not ready and she still isn't ready completely. She is slowly coming around. Would it cost to change my name in one of the positions and put hers? That's pretty easy for you to do. It's just an amendment that you're going to be adding her to the managing director portion, and then you reprint the managing director letter and put her name in it instead of, so it's just editing a PDF file that we created for you already. And can you help us start by XRP and where to sign up to do it, getting the foundation name? Okay, so Raymond, we're constantly talking about this in the VIP stuff. So you may want to go back to His Advocates TV or hisadvocates.org and click on the huddle, morning inspirational huddle. and just listen to the ones that have crypto in it. And so we're constantly talking about it. But when you're ready, if you need a name and a number of somebody to help you out, we have a guy that'll very inexpensive, very good, very trustworthy. He's helped hundreds of people that we've sent to him um, purchase, acquire, and hold crypto. So you just have to, you can submit a support topic with us, and we'll get to that name and number. Follow-up question from last week. When signing a check made out to the all caps name for cashing, last week he said to sign the full living man signature, non-assumption without recourse. However, traditionally I've been signing non-assumption instead of putting my full living man signature. You can do that. It's still the best course to default to, or is there a use case for different situations to still add the living man signature for US docs? The only reason why I put the living man signature on it instead of just non-assumption is because the without recourse is an absolute contract for me. So agreeing to the terms, but not agreeing to the ramifications. So without recourse is a huge, go look it up, it's huge in Black's Law. So doing either one of those is good. I think on a check in the all caps name, where you're putting non-assumptive underneath the signature above the line and you're putting without recourse, it's very powerful. My wife had a house before we were married, and I now have a foundation. Can we take her current mortgage transfer to the foundation and get the house off of paying taxes with the city, and how much would you charge? So, Raymond, we don't have a product to pull people's houses off the county recorder or tax rolls because every county is different. We've done a lot of discussion on what people are doing to secure the house, do a proper deed on the home, which all can be done while there is a mortgage on the home. But listen, when they foreclose, they don't foreclose on the deed, they foreclose on the note. And so sometimes people think they're asset protected, and just because they put something in the name of a foundation, I'm not saying you do think this, but they think that they are no longer obligated to pay the debt liability on it. And that's just simply not true. So asset protection is one thing, the mortgage is another. But if you're taking a home that's been paid off, where there is no mortgagee, and you're putting the proper deed on it, it's only then, you are really holding, if the proper deed, fee simple absolute, which is absolute tenure entitled to the center of the earth. Um, you then you then have the opportunity, because it's in the name of the foundation, to start stripping it from the tax rolls. But we don't have a product. We couldn't possibly create a product because we have to actively work with the county recorder, actively make documents, actively do all these things. But we've got a ton of topics on it. We've probably got 100 people in the middle of that process, where they're using us either through a consultation, or they're on our VIP calls, or they are asking questions and we're pointing them towards videos as a VIP member, but it's not a product that we sell. When signing crypto donation docs to the foundation, I noticed that there's no BC referenced on the form. Is it important to keep out even when donating from crypto through the BC? So if you're purchasing crypto using a personal bank account, um, you are in fact mentioning the BC when you're donating it and signing it on the bottom. You don't need to put a social. It could be you as the living man, not necessarily the BC, because that's how you understand making the donation from you to the foundation using a dual witness and a notary makes it absolute as a contribution and uncontestable. So if you need to put the BC's name on it, you can, but the reality is, it's what you thought purchased it. And there is the element of a living man and there's the element of the birth certificate. And those are two separate things. One's a natural person, one's a real man. And so the real man doesn't really know that he can't do business with a corporation, but bought crypto. So a real man can, under an operation of law, make a purchase and donate it to a foundation that belongs to him in the private. So don't really worry about that too much. Just make sure you do witness and notary it. How can I convert my Roth to crypto? Um, well, is it a self-directed Roth? It's my first question. Asking if it's important to clarify the ownership of holding a BC acquired crypto and then the ownership transfer. I think I addressed that. All right, we're good. Living out scripture literally feels like torture. Um, you're gonna have to explain that one. That's funny. What do you think about Tangent Wallet? Very easy to use and open source. Go to walletscrutiny.com, Joseph, and look up your wallet there and ask what do they think. I don't, I know open source is huge, not as important as who knows the words. You know what I mean? With knowing that open source is protecting you. Next question. If you were signing a BC check for cashing to your current and best knowledge is using non-assumptive without the living man signature, the same level of Kevlar as using the living man signature with non-assumptive. Didn't I just address this, John? Are you not listening, buddy? All right. So I think the term without recourse only applies if you're using the living man signature. I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear. But when you use the living man signature, you're agreeing to nothing because you've also got non-assumptive and without recourse. So who is the without recourse to if your signature's not on it? You feel me? So if you're worried I don't know why you're so worried about these checks or what's going on, but if it's a regular check, just sign it, do the full non-assumptive underneath your signature. Put the word by in front of your name, showing you're delineating yourself from the registered organization, and then put non-assumptive without recourse. And then the without recourse applies to you as the man endorsing the check. Hour and 15 minutes. All right. So guys, listen, again, we've got a few people watching this right now. Whether you're coming on this just now or a little bit late, do me a favor, watch the first half of this again and just take it to heart. Um, Stop stressing out on things, stop worrying about it. You got to have the knowledge of it. Doesn't mean you need to soak it in and then apply it to you, but realize that we have very much a need to unite the clans and bring the people together. Republic events next weekend. Would love to see at least another 100 people there. I'm going to be talking on Sunday morning. I'm going to give you a little bit of Jesus juice. So if you don't want to hear that, don't come to the first 15 or 30 minutes of my prezo. I will let you know before I do it, but it's just where I'm at in my heart. I know what I know and I want to share it. I want to make sure everybody understands we win. So just Saturday and Sunday Republic event. I'm going to be speaking on Sunday, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Looking forward to seeing you guys there. One last question: can the foundation invest in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, everything? We get accounts set up at Fidelity and different companies under the foundation name all the time. God bless you guys. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Hold on, one more question. I just like to understand things in this painful minutia. Got it. Blessings, John. Have a great week. I'm not going to be here next Monday. Next Tuesday, I'm flying in on Monday, and I look forward to seeing you. Otherwise, I'm going to try to hold a prayer call on Saturday. All depends on the hotel Wi-Fi. Look forward to my text. Look forward to my email just to let you know. But God bless. Have a great week. And I'm going to try to start putting out a single piece of content every day. So if you really want an expanded explanation on something, please hear me out. If you really want an expanded explanation on something, shoot me an email. Kelby, please talk about this topic. Kelby at hisadvocates.org. Kelby, Kelby at hisadvocates.org. And I'll make a video if it's, I think good for the masses on it, and I'll expand it on the topic of what your needs are. But God bless you guys. Have a great